gentlemen, welcome along to our latest product focus piece, and as you can see we are joined once again by Mr. James Hudson from J. Hudson Limited, but this time he's not alone. We've got Mr. Philip Metcalfe from Metcalfe Farms here at Washbold Farm, and they're here today to talk about a new joint development that they've been working on together. So James, we'll kick off with you. Briefly, in a nutshell, what is this new development?
So it's a device to balance the weight of a milking cluster on a cow while she's being milked.
Right, and what is that designed to tackle?
So it reduces mastitis, reduces kick-offs, reduces liner slip, and then also reattachments. Perfect.
Well, we're going to learn a lot more about it as we go along in this interview. But for now, I mean, what have you called it? What have you called this new device?
So it's called Lactalign.
Right, perfect. Well, Philip, so we'll move on to you. So just tell us a little bit about what you do here at Washbold Farm. Just about the farm.
Yeah, so we're in partnership with my two brothers. So I actually manage the dairy. So we're milking 1,300 high input, high output milking cows. Currently averaging 41 kilos, doing really well.
Right, and then just explain sort of specifically in your situation, just some of the mastitis issues that you've had to deal with, because obviously mastitis, it's a big issue up and down the country, but just explain what you guys have gone through.
Yeah, well, we've always been well below the national average, but when I was studying our parlour software, Uniform Agri, we did notice there was a large front 2 quarters bias to the front. We were getting twice as many cases on the front 2 teats as the back 2 teats, and it just had us baffled. And I asked 1 or 2 other farmers running the same software if they had the same problems, but none of them did. Their mastitis was evenly spread right around all 4 teats. So the only thing I could think of was something going on in the milking parlour, and so we had a closer study, and we were just thinking that the cluster wasn't sitting on the udder right, and we need this hose supporting in a method that would evenly spread the weight and hopefully stop any air leaking, which was leading on hopefully to the extra mastitis that we were getting.
Right, so a lot of that, when you were looking into this, it was basically a process of elimination.
Yes.
Until you got to the point, well, the only difference is the weight, front to back weight difference.
Yeah, and that was only speculation at the time. We didn't actually know whether that was causing the problem.
So just talk us through the parlour that you're running here.
Yeah, so it's an American-built Bowmatic 72-point Excalibur rotary. We went for this one purely because the simplicity of the design. We saw them working out in the States, and they're designed to run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So we wanted to future-proof the dairy because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We also wanted this bit of equipment to last a lot of years as well.
Yeah. So it's built for the job, this.
Yeah, well, it will see me out till the end. So.
And how many did you say we're milking? How many times per day you're milking?
Yeah, so there's 1,150 going through, 1,300 in the herd total, and we're 3 times a day milking.
Right. So let's talk about this problem a little bit further, this mastitis issue. I mean, just sort of, like I say, what led to this development of, the Lactalign?
Yes. Well, I sort of discussed my observations with like a consultant called Ian Nonstad, who helps us out with milk harvesting, and he sort of had experienced this problem on some other milking parlours. So he did send an email around to a few high-profile producers saying, look, we do need a solution to this problem. So I sort of had a rough idea what we wanted. So I approached James, and so I thought we could hopefully come up with a device, and we had something in mind where the ACR cord actually pulled the device over, and that was the thing that's quite unique about the device that we didn't think anyone else had actually thought of before.
Right. And James, I mean, just sort of, this is a proper example of you working in collaboration with someone else. Someone comes to you with a problem, with an issue. So how long would this have been in development for?
So we started in March 2020.
Right.
So I started with basically, the first one was actually steel, and then we moved on to stock board, and we were playing with different designs and different shapes, and basically printing them out, sticking them to stock board and cutting them out with a jigsaw and a router to make the rough shape, and then bolting them on and seeing how they went. And we sort of got to the point where we'd got to a shape that was working, and then tried another shape and it actually was worse, so we sort of went back to what we've done. So we've ended up with through sort of the process of elimination top and bottom, that's where we've ended up where we are.
And you've got it just there.
So this is the final shape.
Right.
So basically that's it on the parlour. Pipes and the cord sitting here, depending on which one you want.
Yeah.
And it will stand up on its own because of the shape of it, because it's offset, because of this bit of weight here. It stands up on its own, and then when it comes to it, the cord will pull it over, and the pipes drop out, and it's out of the way.
In terms of that shape, is that sort of a shape they had in mind from sort of day one, or did you sort of go through a few different iterations before you got to that shape?
Well, we thought that we do have cows with a lot of variation in udder size. So we've got young heifers that have the udder's fairly high, and then you've got older cows where the udder's fairly low. So we did need this different choice of height. So we needed something that would have a bit of height from the parlour deck to support the tube fairly high up.
That's it. And you've arrived at this shape. Do you think it could have been done in any other way? I mean, you mentioned there are other systems on the market. I mean, why don't they sort of just work for every sort of situation?
Yeah, I mean, there is some effective products, but they cost a lot of money, and the upkeep on these products is very expensive, when springs break and things, and there's nothing really simple to take the device out of the way to allow the cow to reverse off the back of the parlour after she's milked.
And would you say the solution that you guys have come up with, would you say it's fairly universal compared to what's on the market that may only work with one type of milking parlour?
Oh, definitely. We have tried them on a fast exit parlour and a herringbone, and we're sure that they'll work on there absolutely fine as well.
Right. So just talk us through, I mean, the last 18 months or probably longer now since you've been using this Lactalign product on this parlour. Just talk us through, how's it been, how's it gone?
So yeah, they've been fitted on every point since 28th of December 2020. They've been used on every cow, every milking, and in that time we've replaced one of the blue parts.
Right.
So it's simple, and it doesn't cost a lot to keep going.
So that's not too bad then. So in terms of fitting this device to this parlour, did it take much adaptation at all, or was it fairly simple?
So it's basically, on this parlour, it's got a stainless steel curb, and it's basically drilling holes in that, and 2 bolts, and it was on. And so yeah, it didn't take a lot.
And as soon as you fitted the device, did you notice the impact straight away, or was it a bit more of a gradual sort of impact?
It was a gradual thing, and so obviously the way we record mastitis is on a rolling figure. So at the end of each month we were monitoring the cases, and after month 1 you could see there was definitely less cases on the front 2 quarters, and then as the year progressed it's almost too good to be true. And by the 12 months the cases had completely evened up.
Right, so it's probably a 50-50 from to back now.
It is, yes.
Right. Did you have any concerns at all about using this device, using something new?
Yes. The only concern was that the milkers, it is quite a quick parlour, so they've got a cow going past them every 10 seconds. So it was just another thing that they had to do, was to bring the device up and swap the piping and the cord. And we did have a few sort of chunters to begin with, but now they've seen the result. The staff have less mastitis to deal with.
Yeah.
They have got used to them, and now they use them without even thinking. So it's just like so fluent.
It's just part of the process.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. And then at the end of the milking, what happens then?
Yeah. So the cluster detaches, and all in one simultaneous process, the pipe and the ACR cord drag to one side, and then they pull the Lactalign over, it just falls out of the way, ready for the next cow.
And that is the unique selling point of this, that simplicity of it gets out of the way.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the few people that have commented on it thinking, why didn't we think of that, and how simple is it, and that, well, we're really pleased that we have thought of it. So,
And then in terms of, I suppose, market research, have you approached other farmers about this? Have you shown them it, or anything like that?
So as it stands at the moment, it is installed on one other farm, on a parlour that's identical to this.
Right.
But that's not been in very long today. It's only been less than a month.
Okay, right. So it's pretty new, that one, so far.
And we've got another one to fit as well in the next month or so.
Right. And so far, obviously yours is a bowmatic parlour. That one's a bowmatic parlour as well, is it?
Yeah.
Will it work on any parlour, this device?
It will, but some of the parlours might need a modification to tube length.
Right.
But it will fit most of them straight on.
Yeah. And as well as rotary parlours, will it work with other types, herringbone, rapid exit, that kind of thing?
Yes, and in some respects it's easier to fit on a herringbone than a rapid exit, because it basically, in most circumstances, it'll just clamp to the deck, to the edge of the curb, and
Yeah.
we've been trying it on various different brands and different types to see what can work with.
And is there as many benefits to be had with, you know, the likes of the rapid exit and the herringbone, you know, compared to the rotary?
Yeah, definitely with the rapid exit, because that was our last parlour and we had the same problem, only worse,
Right.
with the cluster weighing back and dragging. Because the cow's are just so near to the curb, there is nothing.
Because it's at that 90 degrees, isn't it?
There's nothing to support the pipe.
And what's a good point to make is most people will be doing something to support those pipes. If they've got a cow that kicks it off or the liners slip on them, they will be doing something to support it. And they might not even realise they're doing it, it's just subconsciously that cow's come in, so we need to do that.
Put a bit of string here.
Yeah.
Or even while they're walking up and down, they instinctively just push the cluster further forward. Instinctively,
right.
you know.
That's it. And how have you found them with, you know, potentially awkward young heifers, something like that? Will they take a little bit of, you know, a bit of jiggling about, so to speak?
Yeah, there's a little bit of movement there, and it almost goes with the cow, so that's not a problem in the slightest.
So, just before we wrap up then, obviously you guys have found a lot of data, and you know the benefits of this new Lactalign device. Have you had anybody come in at all and sort of independently verify your data?
Yes, so Ian Onstad, who's an independent consultant on milking systems for the dairy group, came and did a pre-installation visit and 2 post-installation visits, and we asked him to look at everything just to see what he could find, because we didn't know what he'd find. And so he came and did his visits and found there was a reduction in liner slip, reattachments and kick-offs, and then obviously over time we found that there's a reduction in mastitis.
And that's the one. That's the one you want.
Yeah. But that obviously that's the sort of thing that it takes time for that to come through. It's not immediately obvious, and the point being that it's balanced it up, and it hasn't added cases to the rear. It's made the fronts come down to match the rear.
Right, got you.
And also, if you're getting less clusters kicked off, it's saving time and frustration for the milkers as well.
Absolutely. So everybody's happier all around. Right, so for all those people watching who may be interested in Lactalign, getting their hands on it, potentially, hopefully, where can they go, what can they do?
So we're marketing ourselves, and so all the information, everything, contact details are at www.lactalign.com.
Perfect. And that's it, they can just go there, all the info, all the stats, all the data, all the numbers, so they can ring you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I personally found it an absolutely fascinating development in the fight against mastitis. Like the man said, www.lactalign.com. There you go. You know where to find it. Thanks for watching.